Hi everybody, this is Beverly, and the signal isn't very clear. And here's one potential reason why. This is just an impromptu um, video which I'm recording between sessions. I've had my supervision. I've got a couple of hours, and then I've got a client. And I thought it would be a good idea just to record this. If you are wondering after watching some of my other videos why the signal may not be very clear. And what we mean by that is communication, what's being communicated in social media, for instance, and then as a byproduct from our peers, colleagues, friends, family, may also have the same qualities of lack of clarity or being opposed to the general consensus. One of the potential reasons may be down to what I'm just about to speak about. I use YouTube as a platform to publish videos. YouTube's also a platform where those who provide content may benefit financially from that content. And so there is a codependency between those two states, providing content and gaining financially from that content. If you are of a mind to consider being a YouTube publisher, a content creator, to gain financially from it, and there's nothing wrong with that, it is a job. You may search online on YouTube on things like how to make a successful YouTube channel, how to be rich from YouTube, anything along those lines. There are some content creators who will say things like, make sure you've got a lot of knowledge, make sure you've got some experience to share, and then, use your passion to drive a enthusiastic experience for those who want to watch your content. But even if I go into incognito mode or use a unused account and I search for those terms, there is a great deal of recommendations from YouTube, from the algorithm, which suggest otherwise. The suggestion which is otherwise often falls into a particular category, and that is use a particular platform's tools, or search yourself, or use trends to find out what topics are the most popular, regardless if you actually know anything about those topics. And then once you've found a niche, to then maybe use something like a large language model to write content. So that means that you are looking, or what usually happens is then you're looking to publish content which you know very little about, you've got very little experience, knowledge, or wisdom, and you are paraphrasing large language models output in response to a prompt. So that is based on the works that the large language model was trained on. In other words, other stuff on the internet. The problem with that is, and there's the old saying about seeing giraffes everywhere and not horses. Basically, if you base your content on what's been reported on the internet, it's usually just grandiose, outlandish things that have been posted about, or even fiction, which tends to be fictitious. So the large language models don't have a fair representation, particularly when you say, give a prompt to say, please make up, or please describe, please write a script for me. Then it goes into quite theatrical prose. So this becomes an echo chamber, where it's not new thought, it's regurgitated thought. And because you don't have the knowledge, experience, wisdom, you can't filter, you can't express your actual voice. So you no longer have a voice. There are cases where some of these content creators will specifically state, grab a copy. You can even use AI, supposed AI, tools for to extract the transcripts from other videos, put that into a large language model and say, please make a copy of this and just change it so it looks different. So again, an echo chamber. Again, that repetition, because what they are saying, and it does work, is that if you repeat the words which have been repeated before, or the meaning which has been repeated before ad nauseum by other content creators, they will look for you, they will watch you. The YouTube algorithm will assess that your content is the same as this other content in here, or people who like watching that content. And therefore there's more chance that your content will be presented to these people who watch that content. Therefore there's a good chance that you will be able to achieve partnership with YouTube to become a beneficiary of that content being viewed by other people. And this falls into the heuristics. This falls into the repetition is right. Everybody knows, because that's all I'm exposed to. Now I'm not criticizing. I'm not condemning. There's a lot of people who may not necessarily be able to get any kind of financial security because of their particular situation, or whatever, or their feelings, or their experienced situation, and they feel that the best way to provide for themselves and their family may be to create this content, which may not be their own, but it would be financially rewarding. I cannot criticize them for that. However, this channel is all about trying to help people to develop critical thought, critical thinking, to evaluate the information, the communication they receive, to make sure that the signal is clear. But the problem is, people are being financially rewarded, or have the promise or the expectation to be financially rewarded by creating and repeating the same mantras over and over again, regardless of personal experience, regardless of personal knowledge. And for a lot of people, regardless if it's actually true or factual. It's just a thing for to consider moving forward. That yes, you will hear repeated things. You will be offered content from the algorithms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google, whether it's any social media platform, because it would be pointless to them, to their algorithm, to promote something that you are not interested in, to provide an outlook which would be counter to your stated outlook. And I say that because the algorithm, the system knows what you look at. It knows what you will look at the most too, and serve you more of that, so the platform gets the money and the content creators themselves get an expectation of, whether realized or not, an expectation of financial reward also. So there is skin in the game. Unfortunately, for those who do not have critical skills, critical thinking, or an understanding of how the algorithm works, the signal will always be unclear. Thanks for watching, and thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Don't forget to have a look at some of the other content on this channel. Comment, please. Discuss in the comment section on this video page, please. I am really look forward to reading what you think about this. Certainly, you can't criticize too harshly the platforms for making sure that they meet their legal obligations to their shareholders. Ethically, that's a grey area, I guess. Please discuss. Anyway, this is Beverly. The signal remains not very clear. Until next time, goodbye.